baby. Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
And we're back. 2 weeks in the books already. Just seems like yesterday it was 100 days till NFL football. But that's the beauty of the NFL. So Coach's Corner panel is back. Kenny going 8-8 this week. How do you feel about that, Kenny?
You know what? It's a slow climb up the mountain, but once we're there, there's no falling. So looking forward to it.
You could just, fall off the edge, go 1-15 1 week. But we won't talk about that. Jengis and I tied with a record of 10-6. Jengis, how's it feel to be near the top with me, pal?
Yeah, it's pretty great after that horrid week one. You know what? I'm just really looking forward to a couple dubs this week. So hopefully a P-line dub to fire the boys up, and then maybe we'll get the dub in the Coaster's Corner pool.
That would be ideal. The Coaster's Corner pool for all those interested is on DraftKings. $5 a week. Winner takes all. It's pretty simple. It's with a bunch of fantasy football lovers, so I highly recommend to all that are interested. Please just comment on the video and or website. So today we are going to give you our week 3 predictions for the NFL. We will try and build upon our, I would say, uprising records from week 2. Week 2 definitely had the high and lows. Not so much on the injury front, in my opinion. Greg Olsen went down. Probably the biggest name.
Corey Coleman, broken hand.
Broken hand, yeah. That is not good for...
Second year in a row, same hand.
Same hand?
Same hand.
Wow.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, surely is for a young, talented player who's finally starting to come around. But anyway, we are going to go over every game. We're going to give you our picks for who we think is fantasy relevant in that game, essentially who each member of the panel likes the most and in every individual game, along with our picks on the spread and the over-under if we like it enough. So let's dive into it, folks. First game tonight, Thursday nighter. Another boring game. They really got to get something more interesting.
Coaster, what if it's not boring tonight?
No. Not boring with the Los Angeles Rams going into San Francisco?
Hot take. This game is going to be fun and high offense. I don't know why I feel it that way, but it's going to be like a 30-25.
Wow. That's a hot take. I have nowhere near that. But the spread on the game and the over-under will tell you something. And that would be the Rams are favored by 3. Traveling into San Francisco. The over-under set of 41. I'll go first on this one. For a team that's only scored 12 points to this point, don't get me wrong, the San Francisco 49ers have played Seattle and a Carolina team that looks to have things figured out on defense with Kuechly coming back. I just can't pick a team that's only scored 12 points. So the Rams are an easy pick for me. Gurley's looking really good. I expect him to have a good day with Reuben Foster still being out. Jared Goff should have a good amount of time with the lack of a pass rush that San Francisco currently has. So look for Cooper Kupp, Cup of Joe to have a couple catches. And that's pretty much my take. And also the under on tonight's game is another favorite of mine. I definitely think this game does not eclipse 41 points. I'm seeing a 24-7 type game, to be honest with you. I see the Rams winning this with ease. So, Kenny, I'll pass it to you. What do you see in your crystal ball?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I just think the Rams have the ability to put up a lot of points, or at least more points than the 49ers. We haven't seen the 49ers even score a touchdown yet. So that Rams D is the worst D that they've seen, but I think they'll put up at least 1 or 2 touchdowns, but I don't think that they'll put up enough to match what the Rams are going to do on offense. And then I'm with you on the under there. I'm definitely putting some bets on that. 41 just seems a little too high. It's 20 points for each of those teams. The 49ers definitely can't do that. The Rams can do it on a good day. You saw it in week 1, but collectively I don't think they'll be able to do it. And I really do like Todd Gurley in this game. I think he's really going to be able to tear apart the 49ers defense.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Jangus, give me your final take.
Yeah, in this game, I'm going to go with the Rams. I just think they're a stronger team overall. San Francisco hasn't shown me anything for the first 2 weeks. So, yeah, I will go with the Rams. And as I said, I just got a feeling this one's just going to be a high-scoring affair. I don't really know why. It's just a gut feeling, so I'll take the over. Won't be betting on it, but it's a gut feeling for a reason. As for fantasy relevant players, I'm going to go with another hot take.
Okay.
Another one.
Okay.
This is the game we see a 40-yard Marquise Goodwin touchdown.
Wow. The
I
track
see it.
star.
We've seen it in Buffalo. He's got wheels. He's got speed for days, and this guy can burn. And Brian Hoyer can throw the ball. And, I picked San Francisco last time. You guys just kind of laughed at me. They didn't win the game, but they kept it close. So I think they're competent. They're all right, but I'm still going with the Rams.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I will give you credit for that pick for the 49ers versus Seattle. They managed to keep that game way too close, as I was betting on the Seahawks in that game. But we'll move on to... This is a Amber Alert. Amber Alert, there's a game at 9:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time.
Honestly, that time is the biggest fire up ever.
It has to be.
It is so awesome. You wake up probably hungover from your Saturday night ventures, and you're waking up to coffee and football. It is the best possible
Except
scenario.
it's the Ravens and Jaguars.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so Kenny kind of had the spoiler there.
That's true.
Baltimore traveling to... How come every time you go around my London... I was never a good singer, but they're going to London. It's Baltimore playing Jacksonville. Baltimore's favorite by 4 points. Over-under set at 39. I will let Kenny take the first kind of crack at this one.
Yeah, I always bet against the Ravens. I've bet against them 2 weeks, but this week's they've proved me wrong both weeks. So I think based on that, I have to go
2
with
L's,
them.
Kenny, 2.
I've got to go with them this week. They're favored by 4 against the Jaguars. The Jaguars have been putting up a decent amount of points in the last 2 weeks. Put up 29 against the Texans, who are arguably one of the best defenses in the league. And then they put up 16 against the Titans. But they're facing probably the hottest defense in the league right now. The Ravens D's got 8 interceptions, 8 sacks. And they've only let up 10 points in the last 2 weeks. They shut out the Bengals in week 1, and they only let up 10 against the Browns. So I just think that the Jaguars' offense isn't going to get anything going against the Ravens' defense. Hopefully they can get a couple scores. I don't think Joe Flacco is fully healthy yet, but they should be able to do enough just to complement their defense. And then definitely the under. I pretty much choose any Ravens game I can go with the under on. I think 3 weeks in a row I've been choosing the under on the Ravens game. It's at 39. Like I said, I think the Ravens D is really going to shut down the Jaguars.
Yeah. So I'm going to agree with the undertake. However, I'm on the Jags bandwagon for this one. I'll give you a fun fact that I read today. This is the Jaguars' 5th game in London. Does that not boggle your mind? 5th time that they've played there. 5th time.
I do have a feeling that they actually are quite big in London. I think that is the reason.
I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Now
It's
Leonard
because the
Fournette.
NFL
So
the NFL's
But I
forcing
think they're
them.
actually one of the bigger teams in the UK. Don't know
So
why.
here's another fun fact to tag along with that. First 2 games in London, 0-2. Next 2 games, 2-0. AKA, I just think they have a better advantage on adjusting to this. I know this is Leonard Fournette's first rodeo in London. What is it? London, England. God, great city. So my take on why Jacksonville is going to cover, possibly win this game, is almost for the reasoning you just mentioned with playing Cincinnati and Cleveland. I just don't think they've seen a rather competent offense yet. They had a field day on both of those O-lines. I will give them props for Cleveland. I think Cleveland has a pretty good one. However, I just don't think their offense is good enough on the Baltimore side to beat Jacksonville's defense. So I just think that the cornerbacks are going to shut down Macklin. There's really no running game. I'm not a big fan of Buck Allen, so they should have no problem with that. So Jacksonville's my pick, +4. I'll take them all day, and I'll agree with Kenny on the under. Ben, what do you have? Who are you siding with?
Yeah, I'm going with the Ravens in London. Taking the favorites, 4 points. So I am going with them based on the defense. I love Jacksonville's defense as well, but I don't love Blake Bortles. That is something I don't love. He's not very good. He doesn't have very good receivers. I just don't think he has the weapons to get it done against a very impressive Week 1 and 2 Baltimore Ravens defense. So I will go with the Ravens. As for my fantasy relevant player, I'm going to go with someone I picked up on waivers, and he looked pretty sweet, and he might be a PPR monster.
Don't say it.
Ben Watson.
Oh, I knew it.
I think he just might be something for Baltimore. Dennis Pitta role, he saw about 120 targets last year, and Joe Flacco loves his tight ends, and Jacksonville aren't very good against their tight ends, so I think he could be definitely a factor in this game.
For the record, I had no fantasy relevant players in this game. I just think it's going to be uneventful. So, thought I'd sneak that in there. Next on the slate is an approach that I will let Kenny take the floor first, but it is Atlanta going into Detroit. Atlanta's favored by 3, and the over-under is set at 50.5. Kenny, tell us why we should take the Falcons.
Only 3? That's... Wow.
That's why right there, isn't it?
Yeah, only 3. That's... I mean, Falcons are number 1 in most power rankings right now. Our offense finally... Well, not finally. Our offense did click after little miscues in Week 1. Definitely clicked against the Packers. Looked like our old offense. I think Steve Sarkisian, the new offensive coordinator, is really getting his feet under him. Now, I will say I am more worried about this game than I was for the Packers game. The Lions are pretty hot right now. They're putting up a ton of points. They're putting up more points than the Falcons were against the Cardinals and, a struggling Giants defense. But I got to go with my Falcons here. I just think we've got more weapons. We match up with them better. I say we. And then 50.5 is the over on that one. I'm taking over. I seriously think this is going to be a shootout. It's going to be a good old 35-30 or something crazy like that. There's going to be a ton of touchdowns. And I also think this is the week that Julio Jones finally gets in the end zone. He hasn't seen the end zone yet in the past 2 weeks. So he should be primed for some red zone targets.
He is due. Jangus, who do you got in this game? Tell me why.
I'm going to jump on the Kenny McDonald train, go with the Atlanta Falcons once more because they are just the better team. And we know that, even though that Detroit is 2-0, they still have some flaws. Their defense, they have Darius Slay, but other than that, they don't have that playmaking defensive player, where I think Atlanta does have that. Matt Stafford, he is a baller. Let's get that straight. But I don't see him showing up in big games, and I feel like he just kind of succumbs to the pressure sometimes. So I've got the Falcons in this one. And as for fantasy relevance, I want to see what Kenny Golladay, smooth route Golladay, can do in this game. He kind of fell under the radar a little bit last week, and maybe he can have some resurgence in week 3.
Okay, call it a clean sweep. I'm taking the Falcons.
There you go.
It's because of a tweet that was posted in July. Matthew Stafford is 5-46 against teams with a record over 500 in his career.
Wow. He succumbs to the pressure.
So, against a team that looked hot last week in their own dome, I have to give them the credit for
Sweet
that.
stadium, by the way.
Yeah, unreal. Like, that screen lived up to the hype. So, not going to lie, that's pretty much the only reasoning I need. Matt Stafford not playing well against good teams, and Matt Ryan is playing very well, very efficient. He's not putting up those big yards like last year, but I just think they'll be able to crack the Detroit defense that has had the benefit of playing an injured Arizona team who they should have picked Carson off more, and the Giant team who essentially I think right now has the worst offense in the league.
They are inept. That is the word.
Yeah, that is a great word. Wow, I'm going to add that to my word of the day. Anyway, give me the Falcons, and I will join the over because I suspect that we could see 35 points from the Falcons. And join me on the Julio train. Just no touchdown yet. Something's got to give. Something's got to give. He's bigger than Darius Slay, who's going to be on him. So you throw the ball at Matt Ryan, he's going to catch at least one touchdown this week. So that's what we got. We got a clean sweep for Atlanta. So note that down. Coach's Corner panel loves Atlanta. Next up, okay. You're about to hear me say a statement that probably hasn't been said in about 6 years. The Cleveland Browns are favorites.
What?
Favorites.
Love it.
What? By only 1.5 points, but still a favorite against the Indianapolis Colts. The over-under's set at 41. Jangis, I can't take the Browns, right? Like, what's your take here?
Well, we all took the Browns last week,
That's true.
Yeah.
and that was a bad idea.
That was really
So
bad.
I'm not going to do it again.
You live and you learn.
I mean, I think Cleveland's all right. I think Indianapolis is all right. And they're at home, and they're not favored, and they get points. So I'll take Indianapolis. I don't know what else to say. They're both bad. Their quarterbacks are both bad.
I'd say inexperienced
Yeah,
is the
okay.
word.
Bad at the time, then.
Yeah.
Maybe. Could be good later. Anyways, I'm going to go Indianapolis. Under, probably, 41 points. I don't really see them, either team. I think this could be just a reenactment of Indianapolis, Arizona, where we saw two pretty bad offenses just go at it and it went 16-13. So something like that. So, yeah, I'll go with that. And then with Cleveland, I'm going to go fantasy player. I want to see what Rashad Higgins does again. He was the number one target after Corey Coleman went down. He had 11 targets for 94 yards. So let's see if he lives up to that hype. He was just promoted off the practice squad, so that's a bit of a rise to fame for Rashad Higgins. So
Rashad. All right. So I'm going to agree with you on the pick. First of all, I will never pick Cleveland as a favorite. We made the mistake of picking them in general last week, but as a favorite, no way, especially on the road. Indianapolis might be bad, but Jacoby Brissett actually looks kind of settled into that offense. I was actually pretty impressed. He almost got a victory in the game. So they clearly are on the same page with one another on the offensive side. Vontae Davis, I don't know if he is playing this game. If he is, he'll be on Kenny Britt, which just adds to the Higgins factor for this week. But
does Kenny Britt even play?
dude, he is just not getting targets.
Does he even play snaps, though? That's my point.
I
think they roll out other receivers over Kenny Britt. I think he's just fat or something.
Yeah, something's going on. I'm thinking there might be an injury or something's got to be going on because he was coming in, slotted in camp as the number one at times. And then, exactly. So something must be up. But anyway, I'm also going to have to take the under. I think Jangis pretty much took the words out of my mouth saying I think this will be a near replica of the Arizona game last week. The only reason why I think there could be more points, a slight bit more, is because Cleveland's defense is worse. So maybe it could be, 20-17, whoever wins in overtime, because both of these teams are horrendous. And then my fantasy player of the week.
Of the week?
He might be of the week. Wow. I don't know. Definitely in my top three.
Don't say it.
Oh, Doyle rules!
I knew it was going to be Doyle.
I love Doyle this week, especially in DraftKings. The money's there for value. Oh, so that's my takes on the game. Kenny, wrap this crap shoot up of a game.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on the pick. Browns are favored, and I mean, who's gonna take that? But I'm going to actually. I think this is gonna be a shootout. I think both of these teams' defenses just aren't good enough to hold any offense in the league. I mean, the Colts give up 46 points against the Rams, only 16 against the Cardinals, but the Browns have given up 20 plus points each game. So I think it has the potential to be a bit more of a shootout than a lot of people think. So I'm not going to bet on it, but I will say over on this one.
Interesting. I do like that take. So we will see what happens on Sunday at 1 p.m. But anyway, we will move on to the Denver Broncos playing Jangus's Buffalo Bills. The Bills. 1-1. Spread. 3 points in favor of Denver. Over under 40. Jangus, is your team winning again this week?
Absolutely, positively not. They are going to get crushed. I don't know why this spread is at 3. Is maybe because they kept it close against the Panthers. They should have won that game, by the way. Their defense played great. But Denver is just a whole different beast. You've watched them absolutely destroy the Cowboys last week. And they've got a great defense, a lot better than the one Buffalo was playing last week. And Tyrod Taylor and LaShawn McCoy just didn't do it last week. And I just don't see them doing it against Denver this week, even though they're at home. So I am all on the Denver train. Unfortunately, I'd love to see my Bills win, but I'm going to go Denver. And as for the over-under, I'm going to go under 2 defenses that are playing pretty well.
It's very fair. Kenny, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Broncos too. I've been really impressed with them over the past 2 weeks. They beat a solid Chargers team. I mean, the Chargers are 0-2, but that's in the best division in football right now. So that's no game to look over. And then 42-17 against the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys did look sloppy, but the Broncos looked amazing. I mean, 42 points against the Cowboys D. Definitely something to watch going forward. And I just don't think the Bills have the offensive firepower to match the Broncos D. And then I think I will go with the under. The Broncos D is very good. Bills D is pretty good too. So it's gonna be a close one. And I do the 3-point favorite for Broncos is a little low for me. So I definitely will go with the Broncos just on the spread.
That is fair. Okay, yeah, this is another panel agreement.
Clean sweep.
Just because pretty much everything's been listed to this point. Denver's D last week only allowed, I think, 9 yards to Zeke against that O-line. I just hate to say it, but McCoy fantasy owners don't have a good feeling about this one. I just think they'll be able to bottle them up. And then if you try and pass, it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, we have one of the best cornerback duos in the league. And what's really unfortunate for the Bills is that they don't have any elite receivers to give them a challenge. So, mini hot take on the game. Buffalo does not eclipse 7 points.
Also, mini hot take. I'm going to hot take your hot take.
Okay, hot it.
Zay Jones, first career touchdown this game against the Denver Broncos.
Wow. I might have to bet a coffee that doesn't happen. Something along those lines. Because I just don't see a touchdown. And then because of my mini hot take, under looks way too good. I'm honestly, though, if I could say this, I wouldn't be surprised if Simeon goes off again. Like, do not rule out the possibility of 30 points from the Broncos. That's all I'm going to say. They're the secondary of Buffalo
If
is
that
just not
happens,
strength.
though, it's over.
Oh,
The Bills are
yeah.
the Bills are not going to score less than 14 points if the Broncos go big.
Yeah. So
There's going to be a lot of catch up.
we all agree on Denver. I think we all agreed on the under. And my fantasy relevant player in this game will be DT, Demaryius Thomas. Simeon liked Sanders last week, so it's his turn to flip it over to DT. Anyway, we're going into the highest spread of the week in New England. They are hosting the Houston Texans, who do awful, completely awful against New England. The spread is at 14. The over-under is at 44. I will let Kenny take the floor first on this one.
Yeah, so I think we all took the Patriots. Whatever. I took the Patriots last week on a pretty big spread. So I'm gonna do it again. Just historically, the Texans have not done well against the Patriots, especially with the Patriots being at home. I think this is gonna be a pretty easy one. They're gonna go up early and then kind of just run the clock out. The over/under is 44. I'm gonna take the under actually. I think the Texans defense will give Tom Brady a little bit of trouble.
Wow.
But their offense isn't going to be able to do anything about that, so I will go with the under. And then look for DeAndre Hopkins. He's had a ton of targets in the last 2 weeks. He had 16 in week 1, and I think he had like 12 or 13 last week. So he's bound to get in the end zone eventually. So this could be the week.
I am not going to agree with you for this following stat I'm about to throw at you. Bill Belichick, with rookie quarterbacks coming into New England, is 8-0, and the opposing quarterback has the following stats: 50.7 QBR, 5 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. So that's a recipe for disaster if you're Deshaun Watson. I know he won a championship. You can say maybe he's an outlier, but the one thing that New England does so well, I've said it before, is locking down the opposing team's best player. And I truly think for this scenario is such a big factor because Houston only has one good player on offense in my eyes, and that's DeAndre Hopkins. So you take him out of the game, it's all Lamar Miller. He's just not going to cut it against this New England team. I'm seeing a wicked blowout. So give me New England. I know it's a big, big number, but I'm seeing 21 plus, no doubt. So
you're
would that be?
I said New England.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you had the Houston taking it close.
No.
All right. Well,
he
good
had
man.
the under because he thought the.
Gotcha. I will say under as well, but don't rule out the possibility of 42-3. So, New England and the under is my take, and as for fantasy relevance, this is tough. If Gronk plays, give me Gronk. If he doesn't play, Brandon Cooks all day. Jangus.
So last year, this exact game happened in New England, and I was like, God, the Texans aren't going to lose by 14. It was about the exact same spread.
And Brissett was playing, I think.
Brissett was playing, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And they were still favored by 14. And I said, Houston's going to keep this close all day. Let's go Houston. That was the last time I bet against the Patriots. So I'm not going to do it today, and I'm going to take the Pats. It's a clean sweep. And just based on the fact that they're playing at home, Houston's been looking pitiful on offense. Their defense just isn't as good as it was last year. So I just don't believe in Houston. I will take the Pats. And as for the over-under, let's go for the over. I just see this maybe getting a little out of hand for New England, and then with a couple garbage time points for the Texans. As for fantasy relevance, I like Danny Amendola if he plays this week.
He's got the questionable tag.
He's got the questionable tag. He's kind of on and off, but
I feel like he'll play.
I feel like he will, and he will be the Julian Edelman replacement, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like he was in week 1, 100 yards. I think 8 catches, 100 yards. So give me Amendola.
So this next game, I'm going to go first because
it's going to be 4 clean sweeps in a row. I can already predict it.
I hope so. I'd really love to hear the explanation otherwise. So it's the Miami Dolphins going into my New York Jets, MetLife Stadium. Spread is set at 6 in favor of Miami, over-under at 43. And it's just like Las Vegas just doesn't recognize how bad the Jets are. Like, they're only getting as many points as they are due to garbage time or playing the Bills team that, don't get me wrong, they did pretty well keeping that game kind of close. They lost by 9.
The Bills were favored by what?
9.
And
It
the
happened.
Dolphins are favored by
6.
Doesn't make sense. Well, they were the road team.
Yeah.
So there's
So maybe there's your 3-point swing there. But I think Miami's better than Buffalo. I think Cutler just surprised a lot of people last week playing as efficient as he did. He was passing the ball accurately, seemed to have some rapport with Jarvis Landry, getting him like 12 catches. Devontae Parker, I think, led the receiving yards, but only had 4. But I expect both of those guys to have a day, Jay Ajayi to have a field day. And I just don't see this game being close. And if it is, it's a touchdown game or more. Like, I could see from 7 to 10 points, but I forecasted being a lot higher than that. I don't see the Jets scoring more than, I'd say, we'll go 17 points. So Miami's probably going to win 28-17, which gives me the over in this game. So give me Miami and the over. Fantasy relevance, Jay Ajayi has been sidelined on practice Wednesday and Thursday, but I think that's just precautionary moves. But if and when he plays, a little bit of another mini hot take, another 200-yard game is coming your way. Kenny, please tell me you're picking the Dolphins.
Yeah, I do think the Jets have the ability to keep the game within a touchdown. But
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
No. They have the ability, but
No.
But they won't. There's a small percentage, but a small percentage is not something that we bet on. So we're gonna go with the Dolphins on this one. I think the offensive weapons that they have, Jay Ajayi and just as you said, Jay Cutler playing pretty decently. The Jets definitely are not gonna be able to match that on O, and they're not gonna be able to stop them on D. Although I do like the under instead of the over. I just think that neither of these teams have the ability to put up a ton of points. So 43 points, a little bit high for this one, so I think I will go under on that. And this is the 3rd week in a row I'm saying this, but Jermaine Kearse.
2 tutties last week.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna go with him as fantasy relevant again. He's pretty much the only target that Jets offense has. So they have to go to him.
And Jengus, wrap her up.
The clean sweep, I get to hit the sweeping area. What is that? What's that called?
The sweeping
Clean
area?
up batter. That's me.
Because
we're going for not a baseball guy. So there you go.
Well, that was pretty evident.
Yeah,
okay.
well,
Why
anyways,
is Miami winning?
I'm not talking baseball, but obviously Miami's winning because the Jets are horrible. Jay Cutler looked good. Their defense is decent. Their running back's best. Their receivers are better. It's just a whole better team versus a bad team. The Jets might be a little fired up that they're playing at home for the first time, but their fans want them to lose, so why not just lose for the boys? So
literally, I want what's his name? Carson?
Chris?
No, Rosen.
Oh,
UCLA.
Josh Rosen, yeah.
Woo-hoo!
There's a million.
He could look good in a Jets uniform.
Yeah.
Over under.
Yeah. Tough one. Gonna take the
Stay away,
under.
if anything.
Yeah, we'll stay away. Fantasy relevant, Devontae Parker. Jarvis Landry looked the better receiver just based on stats because he had 13 catches, but his air yards was like 4 per throw. So, and Devontae Parker was getting aired out too. Like, I think he had multiple 20-yard catches in last week's game. Like, he looked good. So, Devontae Parker definitely living up to expectations so far.
Yeah, definitely have high aspirations for that man this year, but we'll see as the season progresses. We're going to move on to New Orleans Saints. Stomping on into Carolina. Carolina Panthers are a 5.5-point favorite, and the over-under is set at 46.5. I'll tell you this much. My favorite part about this game is that number. I think it is wickedly high. Although I think New Orleans has a good offense, but they're playing a Carolina team that has only allowed 6 points. Yes, one could argue that Buffalo Bills and San Francisco 49ers. 9? It was 6.
No.
Really? It was 9-3.
It was
Oh,
9
it was 9-3. Yeah,
9
my
to
bad,
3.
my bad.
Yeah, they scored 9. So you
I
were
felt like the Bills had a touchdown.
No, you wish. Zay Jones dropped it though. Anyway, Carolina, I have to take them on the spread. I will probably stay away on the spread aspect. I do like the under a lot, just because the pass defense is so bad for the Saints. Like they've gave up now 8 touchdowns or 9 in 2 weeks, which is just pitiful. And I just see Cam Newton doing well in the first half and then handing her off to big Stewie in the second. McCaffrey could have a PPR godlike game if New Orleans keeps this close. So keep an eye out on that. So I will say my fantasy relevant player is McCaffrey. And the under is one of my stronger plays of the week. Jangus, what do you got?
I am going to take the points here with the Saints. They haven't looked good in their first 2 games, but I think Drew Brees and Michael Thomas and that offense is due. They haven't had great showings in the first 2 weeks. I mean, they put up some points, but not the New Orleans Saints offense that we know. So I like New Orleans, and I mean, this spread, 5.5 points, these teams are just too close for what this spread gives us. So, yeah, I'll take the points every day in a game like this. As for the over-under, I think this could be a shootout, so I'm going to take the over at 46.5. As for fantasy relevant player, I'm going to go with a bit of a sleeper. Maybe not relevant yet, could be relevant soon.
Say it.
Devin Funchess.
Love it.
Love it. Goes
Give me
down.
bunches of Funchess.
He's a big man, and he's just kind of, I think he's going to fill in that Greg Olsen role, so I like Funchess this week.
Kenny, wrap her up.
So
Who are you going with? Who are you siding with?
The reason, I mean, I want both these teams to lose. They're NFC South, Falcons division.
One's losing. I can
know,
guarantee that.
One is losing. I hope it's the
They could
Panthers,
tie.
honestly. But the reason the Saints are losing is because of their defense. They've played the Vikings and the Patriots, and I
Lack thereof.
like those offenses better than the Panthers right now. I really, really have not been impressed with the Panthers offense. Cam Newton looked all out of sorts last week. Only reason they looked decent in week 1 is because they were playing the 49ers. But I just really don't think they have got the weapons. Cam Newton's not playing as well as he has in the past, and they just lost Greg Olsen. So it's gonna the Panthers are gonna have to put up a ton of points to beat the Saints, because the Saints are going to be able to score touchdowns in the Panthers. No other team has been able to. But Drew Brees plays these guys twice a year. He's gonna have something up his sleeve. So just for that reason alone, I will take the Saints on the spread. Panthers are favored by 5.5, so I do look for Drew Brees to put up a bunch of points in this Panthers D, which a little bit of a hot take. I think are fakers. I don't think this defense is as good as people think it is.
Interesting.
They were playing the 49ers and the Bills, and I just really don't think they have the secondary to compete with Drew Brees in a high-octane passing offense.
You could be right. I would not put it past you. But Intel proven otherwise. I don't know. I just think Carolina's got it. But it will be a good game to watch, especially if you are a Falcons fan like Kenny. Now we go on to a game which has had a lot of movement in the spread. Opened up at 3.5. It's now at 6.5. And that's the Giants traveling into Philly. Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz, second best quarterback with fantasy points to this point. So yeah, 6.5 points is the spread in favor of Philadelphia, and 43 is our over-under number. I will let Jangus take the floor first on this one, mostly because I'm pretty torn.
Yeah, so I am going to go in this game with the Giants.
Wow.
Philly looks good. New York looks bad. there's no real reason I should be taking the Giants, but I believe in one Odell Beckham Jr., who is healthier this game, with more rest time, and they've just got to snap out of it at some point, right? And with a spread at 6.5, I think they're going to keep it close. I think it'll be a close game, so I'm going to take the Giants. I don't necessarily believe they're going to win. I just think it's going to be closer than a touchdown. So I'll go Giants, and I'll take the under. I don't see this game going over 43. As for fantasy relevant player, Zach Ertz.
My ball, Zach Ertz.
Yeah, my ball, Zach Ertz.
Seriously.
He honestly has been solid first 2 games, and the Giants don't know how to cover a tight end. So take Zach Ertz.
Kenny, who you got, buddy?
This one's going to be pretty high scoring.
Wow.
Over-under's at 43, but the Eagles have a very potent offense. They scored 30 against the Redskins, 20 against the Chiefs. And I do think that the Giants are finally going to kind of snap out of their slump, offensively at least. I think their defense is gonna struggle a little bit against the Eagles. But offensively, Odell's back. I think they're going to be able to put up at least 2 touchdowns. Hopefully, they've only scored 1 so far. Have they scored 1?
Who? The Giants?
The Giants.
Yes.
Yes.
They scored
Evan
1
Ingram.
last week, right?
Elvin Ingram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Elvin.
Alvin.
Evan.
Evan or
Yeah,
Elvin?
it's Evan.
You sure?
Positive.
Okay. Elvin sounds like a chess club kind of guy.
Not a football player.
No, but keep going.
Yeah, so I do think the Eagles are going to put up a decent amount of points against this offense, and then the Giants are going to have to keep it close, put up as many points as they can. But over-under at 43, I'm going to take the over on that one, actually. And then I think the Giants will come up short. Their offense is going to improve, but it's not going to improve enough to score more points than the Eagles. So I'm going to take the Eagles favorite at 6.5. And then I'm with you on Zach Ertz. I do think that he's going to have a pretty good game as well.
The chants, you can hear them. Clean sweep, clean. No. Eagles, I can't pick a team who's continued the streak of not scoring 20 points. That's 9 games in a row now. Dating back to last season, the Giants haven't scored 20 points. So, do I see the Philadelphia Eagles scoring 24 is basically what you got to ask yourself, because you assume that they're only going to get between 17 and 20 points. My answer is yes, especially if Jenkins, it's Jenkins, right? Their number 1 corner?
Yes.
Yes. If he's not playing, definitely watch Alshon Jeffrey. Like, god damn. He could have a game this week. So he's going to be my fantasy relevant player. I just think the pass rush that Philly's going to bring to that, again, terrible offensive line in New York. They're at home. Carson's looking good. I'm actually surprised when it came out at 3.5. I wanted to bet my entire bank account, although it was pretty low. Couldn't do it. 6.5, I still think it's pretty low. I think it's a bit more accurate, but Philly has enough on the offensive side and enough on the defensive front end to keep New York in check. And that's why I will be taking the under in this game, because I still don't see too many points coming out of New York. But I wouldn't be surprised if Philly puts up quite a few. Moving on to Pittsburgh. God, we get to see Big Ben on the road again. Woo! Playing the Chicago injury-riddled, weird Bears. Like, they have to be just going into the season. You're like, okay, maybe they'll be a bit better. Bam, injury, Meredith. Bam, another injury. Jordan Howard is questionable. Right now.
Kevin White.
Yeah. Oh, I was really trying to forget about Kevin White. But now Tariq Cohen seems to be the guy. Who the hell was Tariq Cohen?
The human joystick.
Literally, he does look pretty good, but he was not on my radar going into this year.
Who do you got, Coaster?
It's a great question. This is definitely a pass, but gun to my head right now, I'm going to pick the Steelers just because I don't see any offense I think Glennon is starting to come down to earth from his efficient game against Atlanta. I could see John Fox doing what he does best and keeping a game close, but I honestly don't think we've seen the best of the Pittsburgh offense yet. So I just think they're due. Chicago's D has played a bit better, but I see another Martavis Bryant touchdown coming. Called it last week, and I see it happening again. So Martavis Bryant is my fantasy relevant player, but I will take the under in this game. Don't expect much, and then Le'Veon Bell should be running out the clock in the fourth quarter. Jangus, go.
As you have alluded to, Coaster, I do not like this game. I have not bet it, and I won't do it. But for this sake, I will take the Steelers. Unfortunately, I don't really want to. I just can't see it happening in Chicago, even though they're at home. Mike Glennon just looked pitiful last week against the Bucs. And Big Ben on the road, that's just a scary fact. But all their firepower, and this is the week that Le'Veon breaks out. So with that said, I'm going to go with the Steelers. I am going to take the under at 44. I think it's going to be 24-10, something like that for the Bears. And fantasy relevant player, I just alluded to it. This is the week. Le'Veon Bell, double-digit fantasy points, even in the 20s. I could see that.
Wouldn't be surprised. Kenny,
It's got to happen soon.
are we going clean sweep?
Yeah, we're gonna go clean sweep.
Attaboy. Get the brooms.
Now, they are playing at Soldier Field. It's tough to get your feet under you at Soldier Field. I mean, I've played there, obviously, but from what I've heard from players, it's tough to get your feet under you at Soldier Field. The grass is longer, a lot longer than like a dome or even a clean cut field. But it is an older field, and the Bears defense is very good against the run. I do think they'll shut down Le'Veon Bell. So if the Steelers didn't have Martavis Bryant and Antonio Brown, I'd take the Bears, but they do, so it's a pretty easy pick on the Steelers. I think the Steelers offense is going to be able to just overpower the Bears defense, and then the Bears offense isn't going to be able to keep up. So it's I'm definitely taking the Steelers at 7-point favorites here, and I'll take the under on the 44.
And that's pretty fair. Yeah, should be an interesting game. I think it could be a replica of what Pittsburgh just did to Minnesota. Anyway, there's one game off the board right now due to some injuries / Sam Bradford, and that's Tampa Bay going into Minnesota. Because I really have no information as to where that spread is, we will just be skipping the game. If I can give my 2 cents, if Sam Bradford plays, pick Minnesota.
I will say, inevitably, no matter what, Tampa Bay wins this game because I like them.
Okay, Kenny, who do you pick a winner with Sam Bradford?
With Sam Bradford,
Yeah.
I'm with you on the Vikings there.
Okay. All right.
But
we're
without
gonna
it's
move on.
the Buccaneers for sure.
Famous Jameis.
Famous Jameis. Couple more weeks till Dougie comes back.
Coaster, Seattle, Tennessee.
It is going to be a good one in Tennessee where they are favorite by 2.5. It's weird to see Seattle being an underdog. But the total is at 42. That's where my money is going to be lying this week, and that's on the under. Seattle will be able to tame the Tennessee offense. So I just think Tennessee won't have as much room as they did last week against the Jags. Then on the game, until Seattle can show me that their offensive line and offense is competent, I cannot take them. So Tennessee at home, only 2.5 points. I think this might be one of the underrated plays of the week. People might be overthinking this one just because it's Seattle. They kind of have that name behind them. So give me Tennessee and give me the under fantasy relevance. No Corey Davis. Eric Decker hasn't scored a touchdown yet. It's time. Eric Decker, Titans touchdown coming up. Kenny, what do you got?
I think that the Seahawks are going to change the way they play offense a little bit. They kind of have to. They've only put up 9 and 12 points respectively. I think they're going to lean on Chris Carson a little bit more. They leaned on him quite a bit last week, and I think they will even more this week. They'll try to get the run game more involved, and maybe get Russell Wilson, have his receivers a little bit more open with some play action. So I actually am going to take the Seahawks. They're not favorites for the first time in probably a little while. Ever since they've started their Legion of Boom defense and everything. But like you said, I do think they're gonna smother the Titans offense, and I just think that Russell Wilson's gonna be able to do a little bit more than Marcus Mariota is gonna be able to do. But I will take the under. It's gonna be a pretty tight game. If the spread was any higher, I'd probably go with the Titans, but 2.5 makes the Seahawks a pretty easy pick with me.
Yeah, and I'm also going to chime in and go with the Seahawks. Going to agree with you there, Kenny. I think this is the game that the offense breaks out a little bit. I just can't see it just faltering game after game after game. I like the Titans' defense. I think it's pretty decent, definitely against the run. But I just got a feeling I'm going to go with the gut again, and that Seattle is just going to break out here. So I got them on the points. Over under, I can see this going over. I don't see why, but it's another gut pick. 42 points. Just could get into a shootout maybe with the Seattle offense starting to run for sure. So
they're definitely starting something.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. As for fantasy relevant players, Kenny talked about it. It's Chris Carson. Carson. But it's not if he does well. I just want to see what happens. Thomas Rawls was coming back from injury last week. They said they eased him in. That or he was just absolutely horrible. I tend to lean with the latter. So I'm just hoping Eddie Lacy gets cut. And I hope that Thomas Rawls never plays football again because Carson is dynamic.
You have him in fantasy. That's the only reason why you're saying all these things.
I was fired up to get him.
Yeah, as you should have been. Anyway, next up. By the way, Seattle was our first 4 o'clock game. First 4 o'clock game. Every game up until that point was 1 p.m. Second 4 p.m. game. Second highest spread of the week, which is the Green Bay Packers at home. Lambeau Field, baby, against the Cincinnati Bengals, who just fired their offensive coordinator for good reason. This will be their third game attempting to get a touchdown. So I'm going to take the first spin on this. Honestly, I think we're going to see a better Cincinnati team. New offensive coordinator, players usually get pretty fired up over that. Don't get me wrong, AJ Green, if there was such thing, I would bet he's going to get over 13 targets this week because that's basically what the Cincinnati Bengals should be doing every week and what the new offensive coordinator probably got drilled in his head. But all that being said, their offensive line is so bad. Vontaze Burfict is not playing yet. Adam Jones looked kind of shaky against Hopkins, and Nelson is on sked to be playing. Lambeau, really bad O-line on Cincy. Green Bay's the easy pick here. It's under double digits. That got me really fired up. So I'll be taking Green Bay at home. And I will go with the 46.5 is the over-under. That's a tough number. We're going to have to see a touchdown at least out of Cincinnati. So I'm going to go over. Like, it's your third game. Wake up, Bengals.
Bengals.
Ben, it literally says your name in their team name.
Wow.
It's the Bengals.
Wow.
Anyway, wow. That's my pick, fantasy relevant player. After last week, Ty Montgomery, goddamn son, he is a PPR dream, so I will go again with him. Jangus, what you got?
Going with the Bengals on the points.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just think they've just got so much pressure on them right now. They're a team with a really dynamic offense. Like they do have, they have players that can produce, their quarterback isn't that bad. He's playing pretty horrible, but Andy Dalton's not that bad. We've seen him do it before. AJ Green's a top 5 receiver. Joe Mixon's possibly one of the better backs in the league. If you feed him the rock, you might see good things. Tyler Eifert, I think he's doubtful for this game, which doesn't help my prediction. But I'm still going with the Bengals because I think they're going to keep it close. Under 46.5, because that's the only way I see them winning this. We're not winning the game or keeping it close. It's going to have to be a close defensive game. And fantasy relevant player, Devontae Adams for me. If Jordy doesn't play, or if he's playing limited, if Randall Cobb might not play, so that leaves Devontae Adams as the top receiver in Green Bay. So, and I don't want anything to do with Geronimo Allison. So, Devontae Adams.
I love that. Kenny, wrap it up, baby. Do I hear it? Please side with me. Please.
If the Bengals are going to beat the Packers, they're going to have to score, I'd say, at least 24 points. And your first week with an offensive coordinator, there's no way that's going to happen. I'm going to take the Packers at 9-point favorites. There's no way the Bengals are going to be able to keep up. You've got to almost go shot for shot with Aaron Rodgers, and there's no way that offense can do that. The reason the Falcons were able to throw Aaron Rodgers off his game last week was because of the pressure. They've got both of their offensive tackles are injured, and I think that's still the case this week. But I don't think the Bengals D-liner is going to be able to take advantage of that like the Falcons were. So I'm definitely taking the Packers at 9-point favorites.
Attaboy.
I'll go the under on 46.5. The Packers are going to score a decent amount of points, but I don't think the Bengals are actually going to get close. So it's going to be like a shot and then maybe a shot back, but then it's just going to be several consecutive shots from Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think they'll keep the pedal on the metal.
The pedal on the metal. That's interesting. Anyway,
Pedal to the metal.
we will move on to the Kansas City Chiefs, who have a Hall of Fame running back, apparently, traveling into L.A., playing the Chargers.
Oh, I hate you, Chargers.
You've cost me so much money in this young season already. And do you know what? Like, this happened last year, and I think the year before, they never failed to amaze on losing in the last seconds. Like, it's actually unbelievable.
Oh, my God.
I need a stat on it just because it's, like, it's becoming too much.
That sucks to be a Chargers fan. Okay, wait. Let me get this out. Let's say you're a San Diego Chargers fan. How shitty is that? Your team is doing horrible and loses in the last minutes of game, and then they also move.
You're just
horrible.
If you live in San Diego, then, you know,
you're just cheering for, like, the Bills or something.
I don't know. I would probably jump on the Las Vegas team in a couple of years or something.
Yeah, why not?
They're going to Vegas. Bet on them. You get it? Vegas. Ha! God,
Who do you like, Coaster? Give me your pick.
Chiefs. No doubt.
3 points?
3 points
No
is not
problem.
enough. It is not enough for an offense that looks good. They've put up 69 points to date now. They got 20. Yeah, I was waiting all week for that. Anyway, 3 points is not enough against a team that, like we just said, usually loses by 3 or less, but they also really haven't played that like good of a team. Denver did have a good defense, and I think they'll have a great job on the offensive side. LA. That's why I like the over the most in this game. 47.5 is the total. I think this is the shootout of the week. I am expecting kind of Kenny's prediction for the Atlanta-Detroit game, 35-30, something along those lines. In favor of Kansas City, Kareem Hunt looks way too good. The offensive line is great. Hopefully they can stop Joey Bosa. And keep an eye on Verrett's status, because if he's out, then that's just one less good cornerback to be covering Tyreek Hill. And Jangus, who do you like in this game, sir?
The Chiefs, of
Boy.
course. They're going to go 3-0 and piss me off even more because Buffalo has their first-round pick, and I want them to be bad, but it looks like Kareem Hunt's just not going to let that happen because He looks outstanding. The line looks outstanding. You've already touched on it. I can say a bunch of good things about the Chiefs, but I could also say some bad things about the Chargers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. They just can't finish out games. We've already talked about that. And that is my main reason why I will not be picking them. Over under 47.5. Staying away from it. But if I had to pick anything, it's over. Fantasy relevant players. Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is going to have a big game.
Tyreek Hill. Ice Blue Mink. Okay, no. Doesn't really work. Kenny, go.
I just feel bad for the Chargers. Like, they could easily be 2-0. They've lost they've lost both of their games on kicks.
Why haven't they cut Young Ho Ko?
The first one wasn't his fault.
Young Ho.
The first one was a block, but I mean the second one.
Yes, not his fault.
But yeah, I mean I think they should give him a chance. But yeah, I just think that entire team's their confidence is a huge part of football, and I just think it's after those two losses, it's pretty tough to come back from, especially playing a team like the Chiefs who've scored 42 against the Patriots at home and then 27 against the Eagles. I don't think they're going to be able to even come close. So I'm definitely taking the Chiefs at 3-point favorites. And I will agree with the over. I do think that the Chargers are going to put up a decent amount of points in that Chiefs defense without Eric Berry. But the Chiefs are definitely going to put up much more. So
That's very fair. And it's going to be, I think this is going to be a game that people should not overlook. Seriously, watch out for this shootout possibility. We are now moving on to the Sunday Nighter, where we are going to, I believe, the capital of the United States of America.
100%.
Well, they have the state as well. So let's not get into like Seattle is in Washington.
But their stadium, I believe, is in New Jersey, maybe?
I don't know. Well, Washington,
I don't know. Anyways,
the District of Columbia is in...
Their stadium isn't totally in Washington. So
yeah. Anyway, Washington is at home to the Oakland Raiders. The spread is 3 in favor of Oakland. According to the odds makers, this is the shootout because it's 54.5 is the freaking total. Like, don't get me wrong. I think both secondaries are sus, other than Norman on the Washington side. But, like, this is a really high number. I was quite surprised. Anyway, I like Oakland for the sole reason if you were to match up these offenses next to each other, I think it is bar none Oakland, like, favorite. Just because better running back, yes. Better receiving core, arguably, I would say yes. But tight end, yeah, sure. Let's give it to Washington with Jordan Reed. The offensive line is elite on the Oakland side, possibly Dallas-like from last season. I know it's in Washington under the lights, but 3 points isn't that much for an Oakland team that I just think can put up points. They really did a good job finding a groove. It was against the Jets, but they still put up 42. Let's not put that past anything. It's still an NFL team. So Oakland, I'm going to have to say under, just because I think that's such a big number, but I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to be a shootout. I'm predicting a 30-24 game, so right on that 54 number. And fantasy relevant player, Crabtree, you just simply can't get 3 touchdowns again. And I think he will be the one covered by Josh Norman, so Amari Cooper, watch out for Amari Cooper. Kenny, what you got?
I don't understand why the Raiders are they keep getting spreads that are very favorable.
Does this not seem really low?
Yeah, mine 3.
I was thinking 4.5, 6.5.
And then they were underdogs in week 1.
Yeah.
They
were in Tennessee, but okay. Anyway,
I don't get it. I'm taking the Raiders. That's an easy pick for me, really. This team has put up 45 and 26. This offense can put up a ton of points, and their defense is with Khalil Mack is good enough to hold off any offense in the league. And I think their offense, they play pretty good complementary football. Their offense can put a ton of points, and their defense can do just enough. So, I think the Raiders are going to be able to take this one and continue their hot streak. I think they're going to go on to win just looking at their schedule, I think they're going to go on to win a bunch more after this. So I'm definitely taking them in this one. And I look for Marshawn Lynch to go off this game, honestly. I think they're gonna maybe lean on him a little bit more and definitely get him a couple more touchdowns. He's only got one so far, I think.
Before I let Jangus go in here, I just really wanted to add I was quite depressed in the lack of playing time he had in the second half. Like, I get it, you're wrestling an older man, and
he was
hasn't
dancing
played.
like he was fresh, man.
Yeah, he was definitely doing some Molly on the sidelines, and
Wow.
it got me going.
Hot take.
Hot take, Marshawn Lynch does M while playing. Anyway,
I
Ben,
would side with cocaine, but anyways,
who you got?
kind of don't want to pick them, but I'm going to.
Are you kidding?
Oh,
It's the Oakland Raiders.
Oh, thank God.
I kind of feel like Washington has a chance in this game. They have looked kind of crappy the first couple weeks, but no, I'm taking the Raiders. 3 points is nothing. Washington's a tough place to play, though. It's a loud crowd. Hopefully, if their team is good, which they aren't, so I'm taking the Raiders. Yeah, Amari Cooper, big game. Jalen Richard. Jalen Richard doesn't get any touches, but what he does with his touches, well, he gets what? 8 to 10 a game, probably?
Yeah?
He averages 6.5 yards per carry.
Like
Career. That is his average right now. But, I mean, it's probably under 200 touches right now, but, like, that's pretty impressive. So,
it is.
give him the ball. Give him the ball a little bit more. See what the guy can do. So, yeah, I'll take the Raiders, and, yeah, Jalen Richard could be my fantasy sleeper. Probably won't, just based on volume, but, yeah, that guy's looks like he's got some good talent there.
Okay, folks. It's a sad moment where it's the last game of the week, and we have a surprising Dallas Cowboys playing the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. Dallas got 3 points on the road here. They're favored by 3. Over-under set of 47. Kenny, I will let you take the first take on the last game of the week.
yeah. I think last week for the Cowboys was a little bit of an outlier. I do think they'll bounce back, and I just really haven't liked the Cardinals lately. They dropped 35-23 to the Lions, and then they barely beat the Colts by 3 points. And the Colts are definitely bottom feeders. So if you're going to keep games that close against bottom feeders, the Cowboys are definitely going to win this game, and especially only at 3. I think that's also a little low. The Cowboys are a pretty easy pick for me on this one. I will go under because the Cardinals defense is potent. Matt Stafford picked them apart in week 1, but I don't think that the Cowboys have the same offensive firepower that the Lions do. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Cowboys in this one, and then I will stick with the under. The under is at 47, which I think is a bit high. 47 is a bit high, so definitely going on the under. And
Game break! For a minute and 5 into the LA Rams game, Brian Hoyer already has thrown a pick, and Gurley has already ran it into the end zone on a 3-yard run.
Wow.
7-0. LA Rams. Sorry to interrupt. Continue.
I like for Des Bryant to have a pretty big game. He's been pretty quiet the last 2 weeks, so look for Dak to be targeting him a little bit more.
I'm going to let Jangus take the second final take of the night.
I am the cleanup hitter. Anyways, that was weird.
You're just bad with these baseball references.
Man,
Continue. Just
whatever. I'm
stick
just going to
to
hit an
football.
RBI triple out in the left center field with the Dallas Cowboys because they are easily covering the spread, 3 points. For me, that's my pick of the week. Zeke's all rattled, and I don't like a rattled Zeke. He's just going to run over this Arizona defense. And if they start running the rock, then I like them to just switch it over the passing game real quick. And I think Dak's going to have a pretty good game. So I like the Cowboys in this game. Arizona just does not show me anything on offense. J.J. Nelson had a good game, but I don't see it happening 2 weeks in a row. As for the over-under, I like the under in this game, 47. Won't be betting it because honestly, I just don't really bet over-unders because I find it way too hard to predict.
You really got to do more research because I think it's actually more profitable. I think I'm like above, I'd say 70%.
Yeah, I
on
was
my
4 for 5 last week.
I'm a lazy better, so.
There's also that. Anyway, final take is coming from Coaster, and I will say this. Although this may sound stupid, but I'm going to say it anyway. If this spread hits 3.5, Arizona all day, I believe that he will do well against the Dallas defense. And for that reason, I sadly am just going to pick Arizona just because of the secondary of Dallas is just very, very sus. Like, just doesn't look good. That was bad. You let Simeon throw for 4 touchdowns. Like, Carson Palmer might not have knees, but he's got people to throw to. So I just can see Arizona keeping this game very, very close, maybe even winning outright. I think the challenge will be bottling up Zeke in back-to-back weeks. I don't think they'll be able to do that. But Dak, injured ankle. Let's not put anything past that. He did not look Dak Prescott-like. He threw 2 picks. That was half of his career interceptions in one game. So Arizona, I'm going to pick you for the sole reason that Dallas looked atrocious last week. So call me overreacting, but for that reason, I will say I'm going to go with the under just because I don't think, even though Dallas's secondary is so bad, I just don't think it will get too out of hand on either side of the ball. So give me the under. And now it's time for Hot Takes. Hot Takes. Featuring the Coasters Corner panel. I'm going to pass the mic to Jangus for the first one.
You get to lead off batter in this one.
Stop. Please stop.
All right, my hot take is very hot because it's concerning the New York Giants passing offense. And that is that Brandon Marshall is going to have 2 touchdowns against the Eagles. He's been literally invisible in the first 2 games, and I just see it coming for him. 2 touchdowns against the Eagles.
Wow. That's pretty hot. Kenny, can you top it?
In PPR leagues, Ty
Okay.
Montgomery is the best running back in Week 3. No one beats him. Le'Veon Bell doesn't beat him. McCoy doesn't beat him.
That's okay. I will give you props. On that hot
It's
take.
not that hot.
It's not burning, but
It's pretty hot.
it's definitely pretty hot. Oh God, I want to do something just silly, absolutely silly. Do you know what I'm gonna do for all of you today? I am. Oh God, this is tough, man.
Pick it, Coaster.
But it's just, there's certain ones I like more than others. Okay, I'm gonna go with a counter to almost Kenny's point. In PPR leagues, the leading point getter with 2 touchdowns and 8+ catches, Theo Riddick.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Theo Riddick.
Yeah, that's really hot. I don't
He
know.
will get
But, you know-
above 25+ points in DraftKings
And
this
his-
week.
Wow, okay.
You know who's covering him, though, right?
Pardon me?
You know who's covering him, though, right?
It doesn't matter.
Deion Jones.
That doesn't
Fastest
matter.
linebacker in the league.
Yeah, what did Ty Montgomery do to him last week, bud?
Lost?
Shut up. It doesn't matter. I didn't say Detroit's going to win the game. I just said Theo Riddick's going to be all over.
All right.
That's going to wrap up our show before this gets too intense. The Coach's Corner panel's getting a bit feisty. But anyway,
Hate the Pythagorean theorem.
Niners are in the red zone, so I gotta go watch.
we
this
got to
football
go.
game.
It's actually getting exciting, like
The
Ben
Ri-
said,
the
which is
Niners
just
have, like-
unfortunate.
11 plays in a drive, and
What's going on?
the Rams.
Who is Mustard, and why is he running the ball?
We've got a couple condiments on the field right now.
The Mustard. Can someone pass me the Hoya? Jesus. The
Hoya sauce.
The Hoya. I love Hoya sauce. Okay, that wraps it up for Jangus, Crane, and Coaster. Thank you for tuning in to Coaster's Corner Week 3 predictions. be aware that Coaster is still on top of these predictions. So as
Slim margin.
it's still on top.
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for listening. I bid you adieu. Good luck with all of your fantasy teams and anything that you do otherwise. Cheers.
Adios.
Later.
Coaster's Corner.
We're gonna skate to one song only.
Yeah, shit, yeah, motherfuckers wanna find me.